Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Zamar. All the beautiful music that's here. Hello. Aloha. I'm learning the words. That's an easy one. So my husband and I are so grateful to be here with you, and we're slowly getting acclimated and acquainted, and you've been so amazingly welcoming. I mean, I just feel so adorned, you know. Take note, please, Larry. Yeah. Oh, and you know what? The parade was way too much yesterday. You shouldn't have done that. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was beautiful to celebrate the Hawaiian culture and King Kamehameha. I got it wrong the first service, so I had to really do better. So thank you for forgiving me ahead of time from learning these beautiful Hawaiian words as we're slowly shifting into the culture. So we've arrived, we're grateful, and here's my first Sunday, and part of it is me being sort of nervous that we are getting to meet each other for the first time. Do you ever have that feeling? Like, yeah, I've been doing this work for a long, long time, and I still get butterflies, right? And so I'm just getting them to fly in formation. So, but part of it is sort of being vulnerable and having to expose myself and getting to know each other. And my beautiful husband here, we met, shall I tell him? 40 years ago. This is our 40th anniversary year. Yeah. And our first date, I'll never forget, he says, you know, I really hate first dates. And I went, this is going to be fun. But what that led into for me was this beautiful man who was so open-hearted and so authentic that facade, that trite conversation was difficult for him, and he didn't enjoy that. So that's what I fell in love with, was someone who could go deeper beyond that illusion, beyond that face that we wear, that mask that we wear. And so you and I are in that dance right now of letting go of the mask of, you know, I so want to be seen as brilliant and beautiful and amazing, you know. So just remind me of that, if you will. But really, we're just here to be vulnerable and real and authentic and do this journey together. Yes? Yes. Of waking up. So today we're talking about the inconvenient truth of transformation. So that is not an easy thing to do. Transform. And I know that from firsthand, but I wanted to first share with you what we're going to be doing, at least for the first few months. And I'll be here through January of 2020. So we have a lot of time to get to know each other, annoy each other, all those things. Yeah. to really settle into these beautiful truths. So I'm going to begin with what I call the 7 C's. And these 7 C's are 7 words that we're here in community to develop. And they're communion, connection, compassion, community, contribution, change, and communication or clarity. And so when we come to these beautiful communities like this, that's what we're seeking, is to have those beautiful experiences. And so we want to look in the next few weeks, and we're going to call this Sailing the 7 Seas. Isn't that brilliant? And it was my dear friend Jane Simmons, who wrote the book Eye of the Storm, who shared that title with me. I was speaking with her a couple days ago, telling her what I was going to do, so I'm going to give her credit for that brilliance. Sailing the 7 Seas. So for the next 3 weeks, we're going to sail the 7 Seas into discovering those beautiful experiences and qualities that we are seeking as we join together in community. And so as a transitional minister, there's many times that I'm here to comfort you and comfort the afflicted. But my most favorite part is really to afflict the comfortable. Yeah. So just don't look too comfortable around me, right? Because we'll be going deeply into some of this work. Larry and I were talking about the Karate Kid yesterday. Remember Mr. Miyagi? Mr. Miyagi? So he said that's sort of what you'll be doing, you know. So just do as I ask, you know, for a while. Just do the sand the deck. Okay, let's just sand the deck. And, you know, wax on, wax off, and paint the fence. Remember all those things, you know? So there's certain things we all need to do in order to really awaken and to be our most brilliant and authentic and real divine selves. And so it's not always comfortable. So that's the inconvenient truth, is that we don't always want to do the work of transformation. What I know for sure is that there really is no growth inside our comfort zone. That's where we want to be. That's what we strive for many times, is to be comfortable in familiar territory. You know, let's keep everything the same so I'm not disturbed. So if that's you, just get ready. Because we're just going to recognize who we really are and not be focused on, you know, trying to get everything out here to be perfect so that I could feel peaceful. Isn't that funny? She got it. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, but isn't that what we sort of do? We go around, you know, getting all the plates to spin in the right direction, you know, making sure everybody's happy, making sure the meals are done. And I am the master planner, aren't I, darling? I love to plan, I do. And I haven't given that up, even though I know better. What I'm better at is I still plan, but I let it go, right? I still have this plan. I still have a pathway. I still have direction. I still sort of know what's happening next. But I'm able to let that all go when Spirit says something else wants to be birthed here. Something else wants to be said or expressed or done. Yes? Yes. Yes. So there's nothing wrong with us planners. We just sort of need to let go of making sure it goes exactly as we planned. You get the energy, right? Yeah. I'm one of those people. So one of the things in order for transformation to happen is that we have to have a shift. We have to actually change. We actually have to let go of the old self and the one who's attached to having things a certain way. The one who thinks her good is sourced from outside of herself. The one who blames others for my life not working. The one who doesn't know. Have you ever made someone the matter with you? Isn't that great? You're my problem. Right? If only you would be happy, I'm sure I would be. If only you would do everything I'm expecting, then my life would work so well. So sourcing our discomfort outside of ourselves, you know, is part of what we'll be looking at, you know, how we do that in a very natural way. So we are on this quest for truth. I know I am, and I'll share with you that I have had a spiritual awakening, have had several. And I think my most major one was 30 years ago when I got sober. And it was one of the most profound experiences I have ever gone through. And I know very clearly that you really have to let go of who you're not, of who we pretend that we are. And that it takes a complete surrendering of the ego, complete surrendering of the false self that has created this identity to somehow navigate this world. But that very identity is what is strangling our true essence. Yes? Yes. So I found unity very soon into my sobriety, and I'm so grateful. And Larry and I went to Unity of San Luis Obispo with Reverend Richard Levy. How many of you know Reverend Richard Levy? Yeah, he's a dear, dear friend. We still have his picture in our house. And he was the minister who brought us into this mess. And we loved him dearly. So we began coming, and I came first, and I got so excited to find you all. You know, I came to find unity through a memorial service that I went to through a 12-step program. A friend of mine lost his baby girl, and we went to the Unity Church for the memorial, and I cried so deeply. One, for sadness for the loss of this child, but two, for the great joy of the message I was hearing from this amazing minister with long blonde hair, crazy Jewish man, you know. I just thought, this is so fabulous. So I went to the church the very next Sunday and started going, and I cried for a year, I think, didn't I, darling? Yeah, every Sunday, and dragged Larry in, and he didn't want to go, and I finally convinced him how much fun it would be, and within a month he was on the board. So something magical happened for us, and it happened at the same time, and we got this divine discontent with our life, and we knew something amazing wanted to happen through us, and it did. It just, everything started moving very quickly, and we went off to ministerial school. And I have 8 months to tell you all the rest. So let me just end there. But I'm blessed and grateful for the trials and tribulations that I've had to go through to be here. Yes? As you are, yeah? And don't we want to sort of skip over those difficult times? We so think that I don't really want to experience this. Please, God, could you just take this one away or remove this person out of my life? But the reality is that experience, that person, is the very thing that we need to awaken. So we begin to move our lives out of victimhood into, why is this happening to me? To, how can I use even this God to express more of my divine self? Yes? That's the work. That's about transformation, is to say, gosh, anybody could do this when you live on this island and there's nothing, no problems, right? When there's nothing but beauty and, you know, perfect weather. It's only 75 to 85. That's it. Right? 75, there's no other weather. So we come from Santa Barbara, so we totally get it. We're weather people too. It's just so beautiful here. And there's nothing wrong with wanting beauty. But we just don't want to source our life from it. So when it rains, we're sad. I just can't stand it anymore. I'm going to like these people. They're already laughing. And I haven't even got to the funny parts. So Eric Butterworth wrote the book, Celebrate Your Life. And he says, in your quest for truth, don't stop short of simply being entertained or pacified by peace of mind platitudes. Truth should disturb you. Truth should challenge you deeply. It should ignite sparks within you. It should set fires under you, stir your enthusiasm. Yes? So nowhere in those words did we talk about comfortable. Did we? No. So let's recognize that our goal is not always to create a comfortable life when everything just runs really, really easy and smooth. Yes? Yeah. That it is in those trials and tribulations when we can really do some of the work. And what I know is that this world is shifting. We are shifting into a new way of being, a new conscious awareness of how we are in the world. And so there's a paradigm shift. So the first paradigm many of us live in and out of, it's in the world, and sounds like, it's like a sense of separation in this paradigm. There's lack, there's not enough resources. There's scarcity, there's competition, there's wrongdoing, there's blaming, there's mistrust, there's fear of an evil in the world. There's a sense that someone or something is against us. Recognize that world? Yeah. So that's the world we're trying to shift out of. Yes, that you and I, every now and then we get back into the world, unfortunately. We read the newspaper or listen to the news, and I think it was Michael Beckwith that said the news is just one giant prayer request, right? So if you can listen to it from that perspective, you could probably get through it, But we're shifting into a new paradigm, a new way of being in the world. And this paradigm you and I live in quite often, I'm hoping, and it's about generosity. It's a sense of interconnectedness, of sufficiency, of order, of understanding, cooperation. There's trust. There's oneness. There's non-duality. There's interdependence, and there's a joy that the world and the universe is supporting us. Yes? Yes. This is the world that you and I live in, hopefully most of the time. Because, our way shower, Jesus the Christ, said, be in the world, but not of the world. Be in the world, but don't be of that first paradigm. Don't believe in the lack and limitation and the illusion of separation. Stay connected to all that is. Stay connected to me. I am that I am. And then go out into the world. Yes? Yes. So what we want to know is that everything is conspiring for our good. Everything is conspiring for our good. And so in order to make this paradigm shift, we have to awaken to our true identity. We have to align our thinking with God. But transformation is not always easy. So what we're going to be doing for the next 8 months is working on moving into a greater expression of community by following a compelling mission in order to sustain and move us as a community into an evolutionary shift that is taking place. Everything's shifting. Most churches are shrinking, and the governments are collapsing, financial institutions, everything's shifting. Have you noticed? Yeah. So the old way of being in the world is no longer functional. So we have to be with that. So while I'm with you, we're going to have a practice mission statement just for the 8 months I'm with you, okay? And so here it is. Transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in the world. That's what we're going to be about. That's going to be our measuring stick, whether or not we're successful in ministry. It's not going to be about how many people come or how much money we raise. Don't tell the board, but because it's all consciousness, right? Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things shall be added unto you. Seek ye first the consciousness of oneness, the consciousness of interdependency, of cooperation, of sustainability. And so that's what we want to move into, is not a minister-centric, but a mission-centric, so that no matter who's here, we are focused on a divine purpose. And when we come, wow, I got my own cheering section. This is so much fun. And you can even say amen. I'm good with that. I'm an old Southern Baptist, so amen, hallelujah. Yeah, glory be, Preach it. There you go. And yes, I'll just remind you, a lot of times during the talk, I ask you questions, and the answer is almost 100% yes. So if you go to sleep and you wake up, you know the answer. And you're just right with me, and, I just want you to feel comfortable while I'm doing all this other stuff for you. Yeah. So transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in our world. And of course, we start with who? That's right. Just like the peace song, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. We can't transform others unless we are transformed. So we begin the transformation with ourselves. So in a few weeks, July 14th, we're going to start our journey of awakening. And that'll be a 7-week series on the eye of the storm, which is basic unity principles, but it's all about awakening to our true nature and living in the storm. How do we survive when life doesn't look so wonderful? When there's someone in our world that is challenging us. No, none of you have that, I know, but I'm just going to talk about the other people that have those difficult experiences. So we are moving into Christhood. That's why we're here on earth. That we are here to become the embodiment of the Christ. Yes? Yes. That's why we're here. That we didn't come just to live on this beautiful island and surf, although Larry's having that experience. He wants, not surfing, but paddleboarding. Yeah, paddleboarding. So if any of you do that, go see Larry. He would love to do that with you. But we are awakening, and that's what we're here to do. And I believe it's possible to change ourselves and the world through a shared spiritual awakening. And I love Unity Worldwide Ministries. Of course, that's who I represent. I am a transitional minister through Unity Worldwide. And our vision, I say our because you are as well, is a world, he loves it. You hear the bird? A world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of a shared spiritual awakening. That's what we're about. That's our vision as a movement. So isn't it perfect that we're going to be here transforming lives? Yes? Yes. So if we could get on fire with why we even exist as a movement, watch out, world. Because we're going to be on the cutting edge of this new paradigm shift. We're going to be the first ones to home plate. Yes? Yes. But we don't want to do it alone. We want to gather others with us. Because that's who we are. Inclusive. So at Unity, we include everyone at the table, right? There's nobody left out. That all faiths are included in this beautiful journey. So everything we do is around that spiritual awakening through prayer and through meditation and through conscious connection circles. And we believe in Unity that a glorious new future is ahead. That, we're waiting for, the best is yet to be. That this is fabulous, but the more we awaken and the more we allow, there's even more good to be had. So we honor all paths to God. There are many paths, one God. That's what we believe. And we're not religious, we're spiritual. We're not fear-based, we're love-based. That's who we are. And we're having this shift in consciousness. One of the things that's fun about transformation is that we do change. And there's this little cartoon I brought to share with you. I think I have them in the right order, Diana. Yeah. That, once we transform, we sort of have to explain that, right? That there's a shift happening in us. And it's even possible that our external world can shift as well. That even if our external doesn't look the same, our internal is so different that people may not even recognize us. Yes? Yes. Because we are children of God. We are the Christed one. We are the one to be awake here in this moment in time, to be the teachers. So Robert Brummett is a unity minister that I think is coming here soon, is what I understand. And he wrote many books, and one of them was about birthing a greater reality. And he talks about the difference between translation and transformation. So translation is what happens when we have a powerful experience and some penetrating insight comes into us that's so essential and so beautiful that we get so moved and excited. But what happens is within a day or two, we sort of just go back to the way we've always been. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, we get excited, we go to the workshop, we read the book, we hear this truth, but we don't embody it. We think it's really maybe for someone else, or we just enjoy the words. But our fifth principle is, it's not enough to just speak these words. Our fifth principle is that we must embody these truths in order to bring them alive in the world. And I think the song they were singing is that, they will know us by our words, our sharing, our love. Yeah. And that is consciousness. They will know that we are awake by how we behave in the world, not just here when it's safe and easy, but in the world. Yes? Yes. When we do transform, Robert Brummett says, we evolve and we're dealing with a true alchemy, that there's a true change, and we're not merely only just shifting surfaces, we're becoming a new person. We're becoming a transformed human. Barbara Marx Hubbard, has she been here too? Barbara Marx Hubbard is a beautiful, beautiful woman who just made her transition this year. And she wrote a book called Emergence, the shift from ego to essence. And she's talking about this evolutionary transformation that we are all in, this paradigm shift that is happening. And that it is, we think, that the darkness or the difficulties are what we want to avoid. But she talks about problems are the evolutionary drivers of the transformation. They are what catapult us to make changes for ourselves and the world. So we don't want to be asleep. We don't want to get too comfortable because Reverend Denise will start afflicting you. There's this story about two caterpillars. And they're doing what caterpillars do. They're out in the world, they're in the trees, they're on the ground, they're caterpillaring around. And one of the caterpillars looks at the other and says, I think there's something more to life. I think there's something more calling me, and I'm not sure what it is, but this is not it. And the other caterpillar says, what are you talking about? We're caterpillars. This is what we do. We just eat and we sleep and we eat some more. And we look at butterflies and birds and wish we were that. But we're just caterpillars. And we can't change that. Have you been going to that Unity Church? They're filling you with all these affirmations about flying and being someone other than you are. You need to just stay on the ground with me. This is the world we live in. So the other caterpillar says, I don't know. There's something calling me higher. I think I need to go up in that tree. The other caterpillar says, don't do it. You'll fall. You'll go up so high and you'll splat on the ground. We're made to be on the ground in the dust. That's what caterpillars do. And the other one said, I don't think so. There's something in me that's just yearning to go higher. So I'm going to go up. So he makes the trek, and he goes up. He gets up to the top of the tree, and he yells down to his little caterpillar buddy, "Hey, the view is amazing up here. Come on up. It's beautiful. I can see so much more. And there's so many butterflies above the trees. Come up." "Not me," said the other caterpillar. "I'm comfortable. This is safe down here. I don't want to splat on the ground like you're probably going to do." So the other caterpillar's looking around, enjoying himself, and all of a sudden this tiredness comes over him, and he finds a little leaf and goes to sleep, and pretty soon he's totally in this dark place, and the chrysalis begins to form around him, and there's total quiet and darkness, and there's a void, there's no words. It's sort of empty. And he's not even thinking like you and I would, "I wonder what's happening next." It's just empty. And pretty soon, he starts to wiggle, and he notices a tear in the chrysalis, and there's light streaming through, and he begins to move his body, and it's painful because he's been dormant for so long. It's painful. It sort of hurts to stretch and move, but it is in that movement that crack begins to open. And pretty soon he gets out of that chrysalis and begins to fly. And he's soaring, and he sees his pathetic little caterpillar buddy, and he goes down and lands on the caterpillar, tries to tell him of all the goodness. But the caterpillar does not have ears to hear. He can't hear it. He sort of senses that this might be his best friend, but he's not really buying in, because that's way too scary to transform. I can't go that high. But that's what we're here for, yes? Yes. That's what we're here for, is to transform into that amazing, beautiful butterfly, the Christed being. This is an amazing time in life that you and I have chosen this time, this place, to be in a body. I recently listened to the Pachamama Alliance with John Perkins. The Pachamama Alliance studies the indigenous cultures all over the world. And they know that all these cultures have this prophecy that's been taking place. And John Perkins talks about, his favorite is the eagle and the condor. The eagle and the condor prophecy of the Amazon speaks of these human societies that split into two paths. That of the eagle and that of the condor. The path of the condor is the path of the heart, the path of the intuition. You might even say the feminine. And the path of the eagle is the path of the mind, the industrial, the science aspect of self. You might even say it's the masculine side. So the eagle and the condor prophecy says that in 1490, that would begin a 500-year period during which the eagle, the masculine, people would become so powerful that they would virtually drive the condor people out of existence, the indigenous people. This can be seen throughout Americas, when we conquered all of the Americas, and the killing and the oppressing of the indigenous tribes. And in the subsequent 500 years, including today. So the prophecy says that during the next 500 years, from 1990 forward, that there's a potential for the rise for the eagle and the condor to come together, to fly in the same sky, to create a new level of human. Yes? Yes. So it is the condors, the intuition, the heart, inviting us, and that hopefully we don't have to get rid of the eagles, right? That we can cohabitate, that there is place for everyone in this beautiful big sky, and that we're moving into more intuition, more heart. And isn't it beautiful that we're in unity, which I believe is sort of the heart of spirituality? It's not the only way, but it's a beautiful way. And it's one of the most inclusive ways of spiritually awakening. So that's what I'm looking forward to with you, is joining you in a journey of awakening, of looking at our true nature, of exploring ways to create a community that follows the 7 C's. So we'll be navigating these 7 C's, and that we, as eagles and condors, can fly together to create this paradigm shift. Are you with me? Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. God bless. Thank you.